Quadash, 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 Adonai, Elohim, Sabayah, meaning holy, 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 Lord of hosts, because we are the host of the Elohim and our creators. As above, so below. As within, so without. Yah, he, va, he, like I always say, sounds hold frequency. Those 4 syllables create the tetragrammaton, which some people try to pronounce as a name or word, but it's sacred. It was never meant to be pronounced. So as a collective whole, create the tetragrammaton. But those 4 syllables, Yah, signifies divine masculine energy. Above, the Father who art in heaven. Abba, the architect of the universe. He is a divine feminine energy below. The mother who art in the earth, which is Mother Nature, the nurturer. Ba is the 6th letter of the Hebrew alphabet, which correlates with the 6th day of creation, mankind, us. In the book of Genesis, known as Bereshith in Hebrew, stands for the beginning, in the beginning, which also correlates with the generations of Isis or the genealogy of Isis, In the beginning, Elohim said, let us create them in our image. Key words, us and our. Elohim is plural. It means more than one. And we are the us in the our, created in the image, in the likeness of our creators with an S. S. Alright, and because we were created, molded, and formed in the womb of the earth, which is 360 degrees, just like the womb of a woman, And we were molded from the earth, and the breath of life, the life force energy known as ether, was breathed, blew into our nostril, which is the breath of life. The last hay correlates with the first hay, a divine feminine energy, which is Anna, the opposite of Abba, mother, wisdom, spirit, spirits of the wind. That's why I say it correlates with the first hay, because the spirits of the wind are the spirits of nature. And if the mother is the nurturer, spirits of the wind are in the elements. They are all around you. Like I said before, as above, so below, as within, so without, the macro pro-sophist above, and we are the micro pro-sophist below, because we are the micro organisms in the host of the Elohim. So that's my introduction. I hope I explained that clearer than I normally do. Because a lot of times I'm rushing and trying to get to the meat and bones, of what we about to eat. You gotta cook in order to eat, right? So let me cook, and everybody else can eat. Salah, so shall it be. I have spoken it, so shall it be, by the power that is invested in me. And you know where that power source comes from. Source, the great spirit, the all, the Al-Kalun, the all. I am in the all, and the all is in me. So, today we're going into, again, the magical books of Solomon, the greater and lesser keys of Solomon. So, that magic deals with metaphysics. And in an esoteric term, Solomon correlates with the soul of man. And man correlates with mankind, gender, male and female, And the principle of gender on the 7 Hermetic principles, like you see right here, I got up here, Enoch, Thoth, and Hermes. Enoch, ether, ether, N, nitrogen, O, oxygen, C, carbon, H, hydrogen. Thoth, thought, are thought forms. Hermes, the messenger and herald of the gods, equals a person or thing viewed as a sign that something is about to happen. 7 days of creation correlate with the 7 planets and the 7 chakras within the body, as within, so without. The principle of gender. Masculine and feminine energies are not limited to biological sex or gender rules. Rather, they are universal principles that exist within us all, regardless of our physical identity. So, like I said before, magic deals with metaphysics. Solomon, soul of man, because he tapped into this knowledge from the eternal God, which is within the soul, And today we're gonna get into the eternal angels and ceremonial magic and how it actually works. Through your 5 senses, and how the ethers work through the 4 elements: earth, water, fire, and air, and how they correlate with your senses, because the 5th element is ether. All right, let's get right to it. All right, this right here, it says, the initiated interpretation of ceremonial magic. It is lawfully amusing to the student of magical literature who is not quite a fool and rare in such a combination to note the criticism directed by the Philistine against the citadel of his science. Truly, since our childhood has ingrained into us not only literal belief in the Bible, but also the substantial belief in the Aleph, Layla, Wa, Layla, and only adolescence can cure us. We are only too liable in the rush and energy of dawning manhood to overturn roughly and rashly both these classics, to regard them both on the same level as interesting documents from the standpoint of folklore and anthropology, and as nothing more. Even when we learn that the Bible, by a profound and minute study of the text, may be forced to yield up Kabbalistic arcana of cosmic scope and importance, we are too often slow to apply a similar restoration to the companion volume, even if we are the luck holders of Burton's vertible edition. To me, then, it remains to raise the Aleph, Layla, Wa, Layla into its proper place. Once more, I am not concerned to deny the objective reality of all magical phenomena. If they are illusions, they are at least as real as many questioned facts of daily life. And if we follow Herbert Spencer, they are at least evidence of some cause. Now, this fact is our base. What is the cause of my illusions of seeing a spirit in the triangle of art? Every smatterer, every expert in psychology will answer that cause lies in the brain. All right. English children, pace the Education Act, are taught that the universe lies in infinite space. Hindu children in the akasa, which is the same thing. Those Europeans who go a little deeper learn from Fichte that the phenomenal universe is the creation of the ego. Hindus or Europeans study under Hindu gurus are told that by Akasha, it doesn't say Akashic, it says Akasa, A-K-A-S-A, is meant the Chitakasha. The Chitakasha is situated in the third eye, which the Bible would call the single eye, in the brain. By assuming higher dimensions of space, we can assimilate this fact to realism, but we have no need to take so much trouble. This being true for the ordinary universe, that all sense impressions are dependent on changes in the brain, we must include illusions, which are, after all, sense impressions as much as realities are in the class of phenomena dependent on brain changes. Magical phenomena, however, come under a special subclass, since they are willed and their cause is the series of real phenomena called the operations of ceremonial magic. These consist of 1. Sight, the circle, square, triangle, vessels, lance, robes, implements. 2. Sound, the invocation. 3. Smell, the perfumes. 4. Taste, the sacraments. 5. Touch, as under 1. 6. Mind. The combination of all these and reflection on their significance. These unusual impressions, 1 through 5, produce unusual brain changes. Hence, their summary 6 is of unusual kind. Its projection back into the apparent phenomenal world is therefore unusual. Herein, then, consists the reality of the operations and effects of ceremonial magic. And I conceive that the apology is ample as far as the effects refer only to those phenomena which appear to the magician himself. The appearance of the spirit, his conversation, possible shocks from imprudence, and so on, even to ecstasy on the one hand and death or madness on the other. See, I did a video the other day when I was talking about death, death and reincarnation. And I told you about this dopamine that goes off in the brain, the body, when the body dies, and the hallucinations, because certain parts of the brain are unlocked and you go through the spiral, this portal, it's like a gravitational pull, it's like astral projecting. It's like you pulled like an energy force out of the meat suit, So that's what it kind of means by that ecstasy. It's talking about that specific dopamine. So, but these are things that you can tap into any given time if you know how to unlock them by basically ceremonial magic, metaphysics. All right, where was we at? Blah, blah, blah. All right. Ecstasy on the one hand and death or madness on the other. But can any of the effects described in this, our book, Goetia, be obtained? And if so, can you give a rational explanation of the circumstances? Say you so. I can and will. The spirits of the Goetia are portions of the human brain. So if you go back to some of my older videos, I did a video on the eternal angel, and I showed y'all an invocation of how to activate this specific spirit. And to furthermore go on about the eternal angel, as you can see right here, this is like the tree of life, the Godhead, the human body, and how it works through emotional fields and different, energies and knowledge. And you see they're color coded, just like chakras, right? Now back on this side, I'm gonna show you right here. You see how the eternal angels work, right? So for one, you have Kether, Chokmah, Benah, Gedula, Jibra, Tiferet, Netzach, Had, Yesod, Malkuth. Once you go into that, you see right here, this one breaks down. See, Kether deals with Metatron, the crown. Then you got Benah, which it tells you this specific angel, understanding. You got Chokmah, Raziel, wisdom, which angels correlate with them, different parts of your body. And I told you these are emotional fields. And you see how it has like a whole Hebrew alphabet embedded into it. It's the sound vibrational frequencies. And you see right here, each one of the sephirots or the points of knowledge within the body that deal with the emotional fields deal with different angels. And like it said right here, it says that it says the spirits of the Gotia are portions of the human brain. Their seals therefore represent Mr. Spencer's projected cube, methods of stimulating and regulating those particular spots through the eye. The eye. Now you see why I say like grounding, sun gazing, meditation, basically adjusting your eyes to different light spectrums, You can see things that are in the etheric realm, like you ever been staring at something and you see like dust particles or little firing, like little charged particles just in the air, or like you ever get dizzy and you just see these things. That's the etheric realm within the realm, If you ever watch Stranger Things on Netflix, it talks about an upside down, So it's like a world within a world, but you only seeing into the physical spectrum. But with enough concentration and adjustment of the eye, you can actually see. But it takes concentration, a lot of energy, channeling, and different things. So it says, I can and will. The spirits of the Gotia are portions of the human brain. Their seals, therefore, represent Mr. Spencer's projected cube, methods of stimulating or regulating particular spots through the eye. The names of God, the names of God are vibrations calculated to establish A, general control of the brain, establishment of functions relative to the subtile world. B, control over the brain in detail, rank or type of spirit. The affirmation I did before, it was arise, rise, rise, thou eternal angel. Then it go on. That one I don't know by heart. I have it written down on this little card. Those little cards you write little notes on. That's one I didn't master yet, but I do have it. Look at it from time to time. I'm opening back up my archives because it was a point in time I had relentless study. I was writing things, but I never got into memorize. I memorize a lot when it comes to like affirmations, certain things. But there's a time, place, and space for everything. So when the time is ripened, you're going to always go back to those things and they're going to come back to remembrance and you'll be able to apply them in the right manner. So it says B, control over the brain in detail, rank or type of the spirit. C, control of one special portion, name of the spirit. The perfumes aid this through smell. Usually the perfume will only, like smells, incense. That's why that's the key thing in spiritual practices. Usually the perfume will only tend to control a large area, but there is an attribution of perfumes to letters of the alphabet, enabling one by Kabbalistic formula to spell out the spirit's name. If you go back to some of my other videos, I did certain prayers, and I said, what did I say? I said, Nun Ya Tet. Those 3 syllables, they create a healing in your vibration. You got ones that can help bring your tones and tissues back into formation. You know, they can actually heal you. You got Nunyatet, and there's another one said Va Min Bayet. I'm going to come out with more videos on these later on the line and later on in time, you know. I can't say like a lot of things are sacred anymore, so if I bring them out, it's not going to make a difference because all of this information is in the public domain. But like it said before in the other video when I did the introduction, certain people aren't rendered worthy to use them anyway. So if your spirit is vibing on the right frequency or the collective consciousness as a collective whole, as chosen seeds, children of light, the children of Yasharala, you know, those that are in tune, you know, and everybody that claims to be what we are is not, you know, because other people still got things going on within inside themselves that, you know, they're still in doubt. You know, they still haven't got to this level in the ascension process, you know. They still like, oh, I ain't going into that. I ain't dibbling and dabbling that. It's like, that's why I say, like, it's a time and place for everything. You have to be groomed slowly into this. Your spirit will guide you into it. And eventually things will become aware and you'll see the connections. You know, like I always said, what's real, you can feel. What's fake, you can't relate. So the perfumes aid this through smell. Usually the perfumes will only tend to control a large area, but there is an attribution of perfumes to letters of the alphabet, enabling one by Kabbalistic formula to spell out the spirit's name. So when you hear Kabbalah, Talmud, and all these different things, these are esoteric knowledge. The Bible is an exoteric book, you know, external, physical, you know, literal. You know, that's why a lot of the stuff people, you know, put it out there as physical, and they try to give you all these literal meanings. But when you really look at it, this knowledge is coming from an esoteric standpoint. That's why certain things can't be, you know, taught in the proper aspect. Because if you're trying to translate something from its original sense, normally the people that it was not given to are going to try to put it in the perspective that best fits their narrative or their desire to make it sensible to them. But a spiritual people that it was meant for, that is spiritual, you know, just naturally, they're dealing with their intuition. You know, they're dealing with the eternal God. They're dealing with the third eye, which means abilities beyond the physical realm, you know. So that connection, you know, it makes more sense, you know, because now you're looking at it exoteric. Esoteric is more inner essence. Inner essence, you know. So here, let's keep going. I need not enter into more particular discussion of these points. The intelligent reader can easily fill in what is lacking. I have done that as well, you know, because once you start reading, you know, certain things are going to start to make sense to you. You know, you're going to see consistencies and patterns, like I always say. Man will lie to you, but consistencies and patterns ain't gonna never lie. That's the concept to read precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little, there a little. Like I said, that does not just go for the Bible. That goes for the all, because God is the all. Everything that is, was, and will be. And I tell you, like, the Bible is just a fragment of a collective whole, you know? There's so much other knowledge that correlates with it. They be like, well, that's not in the Bible. Yes, it is in the Bible, but if you reading it literally, you're not going to get that. But if you see that these are metaphors, allegories, parables, and figurative language, then you're going to be able to decipher that, which means to decode that, which means to discern that. Don't people always talk about the spirit of discernment? But they say they have this spirit of discernment, but they can't get past, you know, what's right in front of their face. So that tells you who's vibing on a higher frequency and who's vibing on a low vibrational frequency. You know, this is what ascension means. It's in between the low vibrational and the high vibrational. You're ascending. You're going through the through the heights, the proper channels. You're going from you started here, now you're here, now you're here. Now your brain is open more to the all because you're dealing with the all and you're a part of the all. And if you're really a part of the all, you're going to be connected to the all and you're going to be able to connect all things. You get what I'm saying? It is not, I need not enter into more particular discussion of these points. The intelligent reader can easily fill in what is lacking. If then I say with Solomon, the spirit Similes teaches logic. What I mean is those portions of my brain which serve the logical faculty may be stimulated and developed by following out the process called the invocation of Similes. And this is a purely materialistic, rational statement, and it is independent of any objective hierarchy at all. Philosophy has nothing to say, and science can only suspend judgment pending a proper and methodical investigation of the facts alleged. Unfortunately, we cannot stop there. Solomon promises us that we can, 1, obtain information, 2, destroy enemies, destroy enemies, destroy enemies, understand the voices of nature. What they say on the movie Pocahontas, the spirits, listen to the spirits of the wind, the spirits of the wind, the elements, because you are connected to them. If you were created and molded and formed in the earth, guess what? On the Schumann resonance, the same Hertz frequency as the Earth's heartbeat, which rearranged the ether as well. Earth rearranged the ether as well, and it connects to the human body. It's the same exact frequency on the Schumann resonance as the Earth's heartbeat. Now, let's make it make sense. This is what being connected to the all means, you know? Even if they rearrange words, cast spells, that's why the Most High said his people are destroyed from the lack of knowledge, because they don't know how to debunk words. They don't know how to decode them. They don't understand that what was once in a pure language was translated into a broken language, you know, with threefold meanings, you know, just like people say good morning. People say, oh, it's spelled M-O-R-N-I-N-G, you know, morning. But morning, M-O-U-R-N-I-N-G, morning, like death, you know, so you're saying good morning. Have a good effed up day today, okay? That's basically what you're saying. So grand rising, you're grand rising, you're rising with the sun. Remember I told you when you do things under the sun, everything goes up, you know, because when you connect it to the all, there's nothing new under the sun, you know, because everything has been being performed under the sun since the beginning of time. Like I told you, Genesis, generations of Isis, Israel is Isis, Ra, sun, Sol Ra, Elohim, plural, which is more than one. So meaning it's a collective consciousness of attributes which are connected to the all, nature, spirits, and everything that works together in synchronicity, in harmony, if that makes any sense. So 1, obtain information. 2, destroy enemies. 3, understand the voices of nature, spirits of the wind. 4, obtain treasures. 5, this is my favorite one, heal diseases. Me being as a Virgo, they said that we are the best healers. When it comes to that category, that's why I said every sign has their, you know, gifts, you know, their strongholds of things that they're good at, which they need to concentrate more on and what they're good at, you know. Me, I'm a natural healer, and I'm an earth sign, an ether baby, you know, which comes from a mother, a woman, which is a nurturer. What does a woman do? Nurture. I came out the woman constellation, you know. To have a baby in Virgo, that means that an arrow has to been shot. You had to been conceived in Sagittarius. Fire. Fire is ether. Shot through an arrow into the womb of a woman. The Virgo. Virginas. You know. I was born on the 9th month, the 19th day, the 90th year at exactly 8:59 p.m. What's the odds in that? Y'all think that's a coincidence? There's no such thing as a coincidence. Look at the law of correspondence. The principle of correspondence. A close similarity, connection, or equivalence. What's the connection there? 9, 9, 9, 9. 4 sequence of 9s. You get what I'm saying? 4 sequence of 9s. We done lost the page. But we're going to get it right back. Come back to me. Hold on. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. We right back here. Bang. Like it says, 1, obtain information. 2, destroy our enemies. 3, understand the voices of nature. 4, obtain treasures. 5, heal diseases. I have taken these 5 powers at random. Considerations of space forbid me to explain all. 1, bring up facts from subconsciousness. 2, here we come to an interesting fact. It is curious to note the contrast between the noble means and the apparently vile end of magical rituals. The latter are disguises for sublime truths. To destroy our enemies is to realize the illusion of duality and to excite compassion. Now, let's go over here to the 9. No, it's not on the 9 ether. But you see right here. And remember, look what it say on Hermes. Ether, nitrogen, oxygen, carbon, hydrogen. What are we made of? And then vibrations through electricity, which is one of the 9 ethers, thought forms. And then you got Hermes, the messenger and herald of the gods, a person or thing, viewed as a sign that something is about to happen. So right here, what does it say? To destroy enemies is to realize the illusion of duality, to excite compassion. So what is duality? All right, the principle of polarity / duality, because polarity and duality are one and the same. You know how they say when the poles shift, the roles shift? Two of the opposite poles of a singularity. But this is what the definition of that really means. Refers to the presence of two distinct opposite poles or tendencies, often involving the separation of electric charge or the existence of opposing physical properties. So what does it say right here again? Let's read that again. It says, the latters are disguises for sublime truths. To destroy our enemies is to realize the illusion of duality, to excite compassion. All right. It says, Mr. White, the world of magic is a mirror wherein who sees muck is muck. 3, a careful naturalist will understand much from the voices of the animals he has studied long. Even a child knows the difference of a cat's meowing and purring. The faculty of the greatly developed. 4, business capacity may be stimulated. 5, abnormal states of the body may be corrected and the involved tissues brought back to tone in obedience to currents started from the brain. Now let's read that again. This is when it gets into the healing. How you can heal with this. It says abnormal states of the body. This is with disease. It's when your cells ain't vibrating in harmony on the same frequency. But when I wake up every day, I say I'm grateful for the gift of health, showing gratitude. It is keeping me alive. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And my other book of Metaphysics, what they call magic, it tells you that the Messiah, every miracle that he performed, he always showed gratitude and said thank you, thank you, thank you 3 times after every one he performed. So when the cells aren't in tone, they're off their equilibrium. They're not in balance. You get what I'm saying? So it's just like most diseases are caused from mucus buildup. This is what Dr. Sebi said, backed up mucus, So when something is blocking something, it's like a blood vessel, you got a blood clot, your blood can't flow freely to the parts of the body that it needs to give it oxygen, which causes a blockage, and it doesn't allow your cells to vibrate within harmony the same way as the tissues, when they're not in the tone. If you got mucus blocking certain glands, certain things can't function the same way, Things get backed up and the energy is not flowing freely the way it's supposed to. So it says 5, abnormal states of the body may be corrected and the involved tissues brought back to tone in obedience. You see what it says? Obedience. So it's like you have to speak these things into existence. You have to demand, just how the same way you have to do with the angels, which are eternal forces within you. All you doing is unlocking certain parts of your brain. When it says that ecstasy, remember I told you when you die that dopamine and you go through that spiral, go back and watch the video on death and reincarnation I did. I gave y'all a lot of gems and jewels in there. So this is actually even confirming that even more when it talks about the ecstasy. It's talking about the ecstasy exactly while you're still living. So you're not going through this ecstasy while you're dead, but it's allowing you to tap into the dormant parts of that brain. So basically, that's why I say as within, so without. As above, so below. As within, so without. So everything that's outside of you is within inside of you. So when that ecstasy goes off, you tap into the dormant parts of the brain. You unlock the eternal angel, which allows you to go into the outside that's already within inside. You get what I'm saying? Because the whole universe is within inside of you. That's what practicing the single eye, the third eye is. Everything that is, was, and will be, you are a part of the all. God is within you, and God is eternal. That's why the Messiah said, I am in the Father, and the Father is in me. The Messiah was the forerunner to all of this, was showing you how to use your power. But the code word was disciples. Disciples, disciplined. You have to be disciplined, And you also have to be deemed worthy to have this. So mostly the people that are going to have the seal on their head. So when the seal is on your head, that means the spiritual aspect. You give more to your spirituality and the eternal, essence, esoteric, than you do to the physical. Those that have the mark on their hand, what they say, like the mark of the beast, is those that give more to the material world and the works of their hands, and they worship the creature more than the creator. Yeah, you see how the spirit talking through me right now? Because now it's starting to come out fluently. You get what I'm saying? But yeah. Let's read that again. 5 again. Abnormal states of the body may be corrected and the involved tissues brought back to tone and obedience to currents started from the brain. It says, key word in there, what I got. Obedience, obedience, obedience. So when something is obedience, it listens to you. If a child is bad and you discipline that child, keyword again, discipline that child, guess what? You are getting that child in line. And when something gets in line, it becomes a line. You get what I'm saying? What does it say about the spirits of the wind again? It says, understand the voices of nature. Spirits of the wind. You can hear things. So when a child is being bad, the behavior is bad and off, you discipline that child to bring that child to be in line, which is to align. You get what I'm saying? It's the same thing. You see? See how the wordplay goes? And a lot of people, it's the wording. It ain't what you do, it's how you do it. It ain't what you say, it's how you say it. And I'm glad I'm kind of getting better with that, And if y'all think I'm getting better with that, let me know in the comments, Because a lot of times this ain't me. I don't plan this. I was just browsing through this book. I brought all these other books out. I was watching somebody else's video. Then boom, I'm sitting here dozing off on the couch. And then something just hit me. I'm like, I'm tired. But I heard some information. It was just like, whoa. He said something about the seals on the head and the seals on the hand. But something I already had tapped into. So I'm like, and I'm sitting here looking at the charts. And I'm like, I'm dozing off. I'm like, I just need to rest for a little bit. Because I pulled an all-nighter last night. You know, I filled up a whole book studying, you know, to take this driving thing and all this other stuff. But I wrote the whole book from just online pre-tests just to, I know I should have been had my license, you know, permit and stuff, but I don't, you know. While other people putting their energy into other things, I've been putting my energy in other things, you know. A lot of people have an advantage over me, but it's my time now, you know. Because guess what? I prayed and prayed and prayed that all these dormant parts of my brain would be unlocked and I'll be able to tap into the things I need to get from point A to B, because I got a lot of work to do out here, you know. And when it's all said and done, I will be a master teacher. All right. So for all the other phenomena, there is no effect which is truly and necessarily miraculous. So what y'all thinking is miracles, they are miracles because you don't know the backstory behind it. Just like I was telling y'all the other day about Moses and the staff that turned into a snake against the Egyptians' staffs that they turned into snakes, but Moses' staff ate both of their snakes up. You know? You ever see the movie Black Adam with The Rock? And he told him straight to his face, he's like, your magic is weak. He said, basically, that's why it says don't follow the traditions of the other nations. Because their magic is weak. Nobody want that weakish. I mean, I don't want that weak, watered down, what y'all got, mixtures. Guess what? Our magic was the strongest magic, you know? So when you get these people in these religious institutions and they tell you, don't practice magic. It don't say magic in the Bible. It tells you necromancy and sorcery. And I already told you what sorcery is. It's translated from the Greek word pharmakia, where you get your English word pharmacy from, where you get your pill bottle with 2 snakes around a pole. When you see the Baphomet, you see him with the 2 snakes around the pole, which means it's to alter you from a natural state. Because if you're altered from a natural state, guess what? You can't tap into these senses. What I'm breaking down to you right now. The natural, subconscious. Because if your brain is altered or brought to a lower vibration, or you dumb down and you're moving in slow motion, guess what? You can't tap into this. And if you're in an enhanced state, your brain moving too fast for you to even catch on and put these. You might be able to do it, but there is natural herbs that will help you with that. But that's not sorcery, you know? That's actually just taking care of your body, you know? And putting the right things of the earth into your body so you can pair with the earth. It's kind of like Bluetooth. It's kind of like Wi-Fi. Ether is like Wi-Fi, and your connection to the earth is like Bluetooth. Woo! It's coming out today. That's the spirit. That's the spirit right there. That's the spirit I like. I like when that spirit come upon me. I like that spirit. See, I can't choose my words wisely. If you try to choose your words and the right thing to say to somebody, it ain't going to come out right because you're trying too hard. But if you just let it flow naturally, like the water of the 4 elements, guess what? It's going to come out natural, like a natural spring. Not the city water that's diluted and polluted. We got to seclude it, get rid of it, you know? Yeah, I was about to go somewhere else. Hold on, let's keep cooking. Let's keep cooking. Like I told you, I got to cook so y'all can eat. Get to the meat and bones, right? All right. Like it says, so for all other phenomena, there is no effect which is truly, necessarily miraculous. What does miraculous correlate with? Miracle. What does miraculous correlate with? Miracle. What does miraculous correlate with? Miracle. What do we know was performed all throughout the Bible? Miracles. But like I told you, the backstory. Moses' staff was consecrated. That wood probably was a pure oak wood. I'm going to break a video down on that too, because that's in this Greater and Lesser Keys of Solomon as well. But it had the 72 names of God engraved into it. And they don't tell you that in the Bible though, right? They just tell you about the staff. Just like it, when it get to the fallen angels, it only stopped right there. But then you got to go in the book of Enoch to get the backstory on that. So there's a backstory to all these phenomena that happen throughout the Bible. So how is anybody trying to preach to us something where they don't got a whole full deck of cards or the whole truth to begin with? Remember, we just talked about duality, polarity, two opposing forces. So if you got a physical explanation for something, there's a spiritual one as well. Now, let's go. Let's keep going. Our ceremonial magic finds down then to the series of minute thought and, of course, empirical psychological experiments, and whoso will carry them through intelligently need not fear the results. That's the key. The spirits of the wind, nature, and everything, you cannot be feared, you know? You cannot have fear, because fear correlates with doubt, you know? You don't know how it's going to play out, that unsurety. When you're unsure about something, that means that you doubt it. You don't know for certain, you know? Thinking comes from not knowing. But when you know something, you don't have to think about it. You feel it. It's within here. It's within, right? And will carry them through intelligently, need not fear the result. I have all the health. This is King Solomon speaking right now. Now look at this. This bar right here. I remember this because it's just like so deep. Look how he break this down. I have all the health and treasure and logic. Because remember Solomon asked for this wisdom. He got wisdom. He didn't ask for the riches of the world. He didn't ask for all the material things. He asked for wisdom. But that same wisdom is what brought him all of these things. You get what I'm saying? He figured out how to tap into it. So look, he said, I have all the health and treasure and logic. Listen to these words carefully. I have all the health and treasure and logic I need. I have no time to waste. Right now, we don't have time to waste. That's why things are ramping up. It's getting rapid. This is the day and age. The Bible told you knowledge will increase. It's increasing. It said the first will be the last and the last will be the first. As it was in the beginning, so shall it be in the end. Right. Right. As it was in the beginning, so shall it be in the end. And when he comes like a thief in the night, or they come like a thief in the night, or the collective whole of the all comes like a thief in the night, it's going to be just like in the days of Noah. What was they doing? Drinking, partying, la-di-da-di. Noah was considered a crazy man. This man has gone mad. He's mad. What's he building this big-ass boat for? Noah told his family, like, they the only ones that believed him, but when everybody else got their ass wiped out, guess what? He was chilling on the boat. Chilling on the boat. His salvation, his refuge. You see how his Redeemer came in the form of information that made him seem like he was crazy, you know, because he knew the metaphysical aspect of it, but that's the eternal God. And his salvation, his redemption came through the boat. Just listening to the eternal God, the intuition, you know, spirits of the wind, nature. You got to be a real in tune, tapped in individual to be able to channel that much energy to come to the conclusion and the outcome be exactly as you anticipated and predicted it to be. That's like reading the future. Just like all the patriarchs, matriarchs, and prophets throughout the Bible, they all correlate each other in different timelines that they didn't even exist in. But they knew somebody had to fulfill the prophecy, and somebody was activated in each timeline to, not to say that they didn't learn what was put out before them, but nobody knows when they're going to be a prophet, seer, or that type of individual with that type of energy that come upon them. Just like it's so many of us being activated now. It's like, I ain't going to say that I expect to be this kind of individual to this point, because I've been highly spiritual since I was a kid. Like I told people before, I started seeing spirits and can remember everything with an A1 memory from the age of 2. So I just knew I was different, but I was called a weirdo. I was called every name under the sun. I was the eyeball, I was the black sheep, I was everything. But I didn't understand what that meant at that time, but now I do. So that means I was already marked from birth. And guess what? Just like it says in the book of Isaiah, that he would preserve us. So a lot of us will be hiding in the shadows, going through different trials and tribulations, all types of things just to get us to this point. See the hell on earth? That's why earth is a prison. This is hell. You know, that's why heaven got to come to earth to get us out of hell. You get what I'm saying? Spirit is talking. Spirit is moving through me. Now listen to this again. Like I said, I have all the health and treasure and logic I need. I have no time to waste. There is a lion in the way. For me, these practices are useless. But for the benefit of others, less fortunate, I give them to the world, together with the explanation and apology for them. Dang! You see how this correlate? Then we just do a video on Zohar. And we're talking about immortality. And it says that when humanity comes together back in harmony and they receive with the purpose of sharing with others and not for the self alone, what will happen? What did he just say? Woo! He didn't ask for no materialistic things when it told you this in the Bible. He asked for wisdom, and wisdom brought you. I have all the health, treasure, and logic I need. I have no time to waste. There is a lion in the way. For me, these practices are useless, but for the benefit of others, for the benefit of others. That's called receiving for the purpose of sharing with others, but not for the self alone. You see the key? We got the code from the Zohar the other day. We're getting the code again from here. We got more pieces when we talked about death and reincarnation. We're getting somewhere now. And I guarantee you, the people that are going to be gravitated to this video, I guarantee you it's going to be right on. And it was right on time because it was meant to be. I didn't plan this. I didn't plan none of them videos. I just started freestyling them. I just opened up the book and I said, all right, well, immortality, I'm scanning. I just did a video on death. Let's go on to immortality. Even though I read like I told you, the Zohar is the only true book I read from front to back, you know. All the other ones, I read chapters at a time, here a little, there a little. You get what I'm saying? But read this again. I have all the health and treasure and logic I need. I have no time to waste. This part always gets me. There is a lion in the way. For me, these practices are useless. But for the benefit of others, less fortunate, the downright trodden and brokenhearted, I give them to the world together with this explanation and apology for them. I trust that the explanation will enable many students who have hitherto, by a pure objectivity in their view of the question, obtained no result to succeed, that the apology may impress upon one, our scornful men of science, that the study of the bacillus should give place to that of the baculum. The little to the great, how great one only realizes. Oh, I like how they put that. He said the little to the great, how great one only realizes. Oh, listen. He said the little to the great, how great one. The how great. You get what I'm saying? That's why I keep repeating it. It says, let's say it again. The little to the great, how great one. Meaning that the potential is endless, which you will tap into. Great one. You know, you might tap into it a little bit. You might tap into it a great bit. And you might be even a great one, you know, that succeeds everybody. That's deep right there. I don't know if that hit y'all the way it hit me, but that's meat and bones right there. And I'm cooking. I am cooking because I said I'm cooking. Feel me? Stop playing with me. Alright, it's like, nah, I am cooking though. I ain't being cocky or nothing. I'm cooking. Because the spirit is flowing through me. This ain't even me talking right now. It says, the little to the great, how great one only realizes when one identifies the one with the Mahalingam up which Brahma flew at the rate of 84,000 yowanas a second for 84,000 mahakalapas, well, Mahakalpas. Let's sound that out a little bit better. Mahakal. Hold up. I'm gonna try to sound that out better. Because I had it earlier when I read it the first time, before I did the video. Mahakalaps. Down when Vishnu flew at the rate of 84,000 krakis of yowanas a second for 84,000 crores of mahakalaps. Yet neither reached an end. But guess what Solomon said? But I reach an end. Salah, so shall it be. We out. Love y'all. Like, share, comment, subscribe. All that stuff they be talking about on them other videos. I need to get my videos out more too. Dun, 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 dun.